welcome back to the Mindful Living Podcast with your host Sana, listeners. And today we are going to dive into a topic that so many women in midlife wrestle with but often overlook: the mental side of strength. How does building physical strength improve mood, sleep, and stress levels? And more importantly, how do we find a routine that's realistic, sustainable, and it genuinely supports the busy, ever changing lives we lead in our 40s, 50s, and beyond? And to help us unpack this, I'm joined by Patty Durell, a licensed physical therapist assistant, certified conditioning specialist, and also the founder of Rock Solid Fitness. Now, let me share about Patty a bit. She's the creator of the high intensity, safe strength training method, a system that has transformed the lives of countless women with just two 25-minute workouts per week. Yep. And she's helped clients reverse chronic pain, improve bone density, ditch medications, and redefine what strength looks like in midlife. So, with that, Patty, welcome to the show. And I'm really, really excited for this conversation because it is going to resonate with so many women out there.
Thank you for having me, Sana. I'm excited to be here and share as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so Patty, let's try to understand the existing situation in there. So many women in midlife, they feel like they are running in on empty with stress and lack of sleep, and it's kind of the norm. Like, it has been accepted. But from your perspective, I would love to know, how does building physical strength impact mental well-being?
I love that question. I was just having a conversation with a friend last night over dinner. What comes first, physical strength or mental strength? And they're so connected. I think that most of us feel like we need motivation, and that's the mental strength part is motivation. But I would say it's more discipline to get started. And then once you start to get results, you'll be motivated. But mental strength is definitely affected by your physical ability. And when you're training your physical body, the organs of muscles, it releases a whole bunch of chemicals into your system that help your system have more energy, be healthier at the cellular level. And actually, science has proved that it increases your mental resilience if you do it in a way that it challenges you. So we have a saying, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. But if you challenge your physical body to do things that it's not used to doing, it creates mental resilience as well. So that when things get hard in life, you can tap into that ability that you learned in the physical strength part of your training and actually get over that mental block that you might be having.
I so much agree with that, Patty, because um it's not only just about the body, especially when we talk about strength training. It's giving women a sense of agency when life feels like, seems to like be out of control. And kind of it's kind of stereotypical that um it comes from maybe from the upbringing or from the cultural nuances that strength isn't so much associated with women, like, lifting weights or going for high intensity workout. I
Right.
mean, it's that is something, it is so prevalent, although there are, women who are breaking those stereotypes, and I'm really happy that there are conversations happening around this.
I agree. I mean, I meet women in their 40s going through perimenopause, in their 50s, in menopause. I'm, a woman who has aged past both of those cycles of life. And I think that the old school thought, or at least how I grew up in my family, when I started to get into strength training, my grandmother told me that I would hurt my insides, that I would literally, damage some of my feminine organs, as she put it. And my mom, same way, right, Sana?
Yes, I know, I know. I've and this specially came from you know, my mother and grandmother, that if you're lifting something heavy, it will affect your feminine organs. Being muscular, lifting weight, it wouldn't look like very feminine.
It might not look feminine. I always I always tell women members, when I'm working with them that there's not too much that's ladylike in the gym. We might make some noise, we might make some faces, and we might even put ourselves in positions that are not ladylike as we learned growing up. However, women over the years have had to have tremendous strength working on farms. Childbirth requires a tremendous amount of strength. So I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we're not training for the physical labor of birth or the physical challenges we're going to have as we age. That old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it, is so true. And most of us, as we age, don't think we want to do more. We tend to want to do less, unless we're taking care of our organism and we're feeding it well and we're doing our strength training and we're having our movement and we're getting enough rest. Rest is one of those things too, Sana, that I think I'm a business owner. I think many of us are very busy today and we're trying to juggle family and work and taking care of ourselves and career advancement. And we almost wear our sleep deprivation as like a badge of honor. But research shows so much that when we don't get our sleep, we are not giving our body a chance to rest and repair and rejuvenate for the next day. And if we continuously have a lack of sleep, then we are more at risk for certain diseases because we're not able to clean out the cells in our brain and our body to get rid of some of the toxins that we naturally collect throughout our day.
Absolutely, absolutely, and this becomes more and more important because um, when we are sleeping, our body and mind, they are healing. It's the natural healing. So less sleep is basically you are devoiding your body, your mind of healing.
That's right. We've just learned within the past 10 years that, we've known about our lymphatic system that kind of pulls the toxins out of our organism from the head down. But we've just learned about our glymphatic system, which is like the system that cleans your brain cells when you sleep. And if you don't get a minimum of 6 hours of sleep, that cycle doesn't have an opportunity to complete its process. And so there might still be toxins or plaque or things left in your brain that could be cleaned out to
Mm.
give you, less chances of diseases.
Totally, totally. Okay, now
And
talking about, yeah, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say that when you do physical strength training and you make that a part of your life, I know that finding something sustainable is very important. Or else, it's like eating a vegetable once a quarter or once a month. It's not going to really help you. So, exercise, strength training, all of these things need to be a habit for us. And so, we want to make them simple or easy to apply into our life. And that's why the high intensity safe strength training program is 25 minutes twice a week. I've been able to sustain that for 34 years and I'm 59 years old and I'm in great shape. There's never a time where I think I can't do something because I'm not physically able. So it's something that's I can work in and most people can work into their life. And then, just managing your sleep, eating whole and nutritious foods, and loving yourself and having a community. I think those are the four keys to having an optimal health. Training with high intensity, safe strength training and moving every day, eating right, whole and nutritious foods and the right amount of calories and protein and fat and carbohydrates, getting a minimum of 6 hours of sleep a night, and then having good relationships, especially the one with yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll come to your program on the 225 minutes workout per week. But before that, Patty, one question comes to my mind. So, when is the right or the ideal time to begin with this? Is it like a kind of proactive approach, like before even um, touching the midlife, we should start with this, or once we are getting into the midlife, then we should start with it?
That's a great question, Sana. You know, the sooner you can start, the better. So we have parents who bring their children in, and teaching children the proper way to strength train at a young age is really important for longevity, for functional longevity, and decrease risk for injury. I think most kids that sign up in sports are trained to death, and they wind up having all kinds of orthopedic issues in their 20s and 30s.
Mhm.
But it's never too late to start. If you haven't started a program, don't think that it's too late to start strength training or too late to start taking care of yourself. Start now. Your future self will thank you no matter how old you are. My mom learned that she had osteoporosis at like 70 years old, and she was able to reverse her bone density within 2 years with just strength training twice a week for 30 minutes without medication. So you can start whenever you need to. The point is, though, to keep it going, because if you don't use it, you will lose it. And you want to be as strong as you can be as you age. So the risk for falls, the ability to take care of yourself, your home, the things that are important, play with your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, whatever, travel, to live your best life as you age through it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, Patty, as you mentioned about bone density and the remarkable transformation that your mother had, so uh, sometimes it also, I'm not sure whether it's culturally relevant everywhere, but since we women go through the menstruation and everything, so it's kind of assumed that it's a natural wear and tear to have reduced bone density as you grow old. Um, so all these resources and articles that we see around consuming calcium and stuff like that. So I mean, what's your thought on this? Is it more about how culturally it is fed on to us, or is it more about that what we understand are about our minds and bodies?
Well, I think that what you said is absolutely 100% true, Sana, that we will lose bone density as we age because of our hormone changes. But it doesn't have to be that way if we introduce strength training and activity that stimulates bone growth. Our body will make more bone when the bone is stressed in a healthy way. So, while it's true what you're saying, and I'm sure cultures talk about it in a different way, especially if the mindset is that you will hurt your insides if you strength train, um,
Mhm.
it's the human organism will adapt to the stresses that are put on it in a positive way. And so, positive stresses to the organism are to do safe strength training, weight bearing exercises that stress the body just enough to make it adapt and be stronger. So if that stress comes along again, it won't be such a risk to its health.
Hmm, that makes sense. Okay, so now talking about your program, Patty, as you mentioned that it's just 225-minute workouts per week. It's very different from what we are told we should be doing. So why do you believe short but high intensity, strength sessions, they are so effective for especially women in midlife?
Well, I believe that because the research and the science proves that. And my own experience over the past 34 years has proven that. So that's why I believe that. But in order to kind of understand that, I think what happens in society is we think more is better. If we have something good or something that makes us feel good, We think that more of it is better. So many people ask themselves, how much exercise can my calendar and body tolerate? Where maybe the proper question to ask would be, how little exercise do I require to be in my best health and shape? Because while exercise is really good for you, it still can create wear and tear on your organism, just like tires on a car. You don't want to just take your car out and drive it a few thousand miles just for the heck of it. If you're trying to save the health of your tires, same thing with your body. We only get one joint before we have to get it replaced. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my joints replaced. I want to try and keep all of my joints. So, the less wear and tear we have to our body or the less we do that creates a stress to it, the better off we're going to be. And stress, even though strength training, when it's done properly, it's eustress, which is a good stress for the organism. If you do it too often, it becomes distress and you're overtraining and you're getting injured, you're getting sick, you're not sleeping well, you're irritable, all kinds of things happen because your liver and your kidney and your spleen can't recover your organism. Your brain can't recover fully because it's just constantly being stressed with exercise. Or if it's okay, I'll talk a little bit more about the stress bucket. Is that okay?
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so our body only gets one stress bucket, and when we keep throwing stress in that bucket, stress from an exercise, stress from deadlines at work, stress from family stuff, if we're just throwing stress in there and we're never allowing our body to recover from that, then we're going to have a higher potential for disease. So before you can, you know, have that stress be a good thing, or I guess I should rephrase that. In order to minimize the stress from the things that you choose to do, like exercise, you want to just try and make that as little as possible. So, what we do is we strength train the body as a unit and then we rest it as a unit. And we know that 2 days of rest yields the best recovery for the human organism and gets it ready to get back to it. So that's why twice a week for 25 minutes works. And people don't believe that until they come in and they experience it. And then once they get results, they really believe it. And then another reason why I believe that, Sana, is I hire young people out of college from exercise science program graduates. And oftentimes, when they're in their program or when they're just going through their life, they're working out a lot, especially if they've gotten into like research with the college and they're in the lab. And so they work out a lot. And then when they come to work for Rock Solid Fitness, plug them into our system and they reduce their workouts to 2 times a week, full body workouts. And we have a scan in our facility called an in body 570 scan, and it can kind of tell you what your body's made of from a fat and a muscle ratio. So oftentimes these younger graduates, professionals will come, start working and start to work out, kind of freaking out a little bit like, hey, I've been working out 5 and 6 days a week for an hour and a half, and this is how I've gotten this awesome body, and I don't want to give that up. But once they start to work out 25 minutes twice a week, their body gets better. Their body composition changes in a more healthier, way where they're losing more fat and gaining more muscle, provided their nutrition is under control. And so they too become believers in the high intensity safe strength training program as they go through it. So it's really great to know that you can be in your early 20s, you can be in your mid 40s, you can be in your 70s, and you are going to increase your muscle if you start to strength train safely and properly. We've had 70-year-old men come in, 70-year-old women come in, and we had a 70-year-old man put on 4 pounds of muscle in a month in only 4 weeks. And so
Wow.
we see that happen all the time. So the science proves it, and our own experience proves it over and over and over again. That was a long
And
answer to your question, so
well, that was so beautifully put, and that is really, really inspiring and empowering. Um, and before we wrap up, Patty, let's also talk about mindset. Now, a lot of women in midlife, they feel like they have tried everything and failed. So, apart from the scientifically science-backed approach in terms of the physical fitness, how do you help them shift their mindset so fitness kind of stops feeling like punishment and starts like empowerment?
That's a great question, Sana. I'm going to make a true confession here. I don't really love to strength train, but I love the benefits. I've been working hard for 34 years at it. So sometimes it's hard to get my mindset set right, but I think the most important thing we need to do for ourselves is have a mindset of I am the most important person on the planet and my health is the most important thing to me. So you really have to love yourself the most and first. And so mindset for me is I don't know about you, Sana, but sometimes I have this, excuse my language, but itty bitty shitty committee floating around in my head, throwing all kinds of judgment on me and telling me things that aren't true about me, right? And I get that I'm responsible for that conversation. So I can change that conversation also. And I should say I do mental fitness coaching with people because it's so closely connected. Our If our mental relationship with ourself is in poor health, we are not going to be in our best physical health. It's just a fact that the stinking thinking in our head gets to our body as well. So I think that mindset is huge. We always ask our members to, hey, show up 5 minutes early, sit in our lobby, be quiet with yourself. Turn your phone off. Understand that this is your time to improve your health so that you could be the best you can be. And I think without a vision in your life, where are you going? Where do you want to be in life? What do you want to be doing in your life? Without that vision, you can't say to yourself, what can I do today that that future person that's living that vision is going to appreciate and thank me for? And so thinking of things like that, like, okay, I don't want to work out. I know many women who do feel like it's torture. They won't do it, which is to me a crime because it's almost like not eating your fruits and vegetables or getting a good diet so that you can feel great in your skin. Um, to just understand that this is something I'm doing that's going to
Mhm.
make me or help me live my best life as I reach my visions, whatever as they change, whatever they are, playing with your grandchildren, traveling the world. You any one of those things, you need really great physical strength. How about your career? Mastering your career, getting that next promotion. The stronger you are physically, the more resilient you are mentally.
Absolutely. I think there cannot be any other good enough reason to, not to take this seriously and and being mindful of the fact that uh, not only it will help me be physically fit, but also it will help me show up for myself. And I think that's the first most important thing, especially for women, and that too in midlife.
Yes. Yeah, we lose ourselves in midlife. We literally they don't call it the change for no reason because it does change you. It changes you physically and hopefully it changes you mentally in a stronger way where you if you have a tough time with it, you realize, you know what? I can do anything. I just got through a really tough time. And then some women are blessed and they get through it and they don't even know that they went through that midlife change. But yes, and if you have children, then you're a great example to them too. So it's all of the things that bring us like, I think it's the only fountain of youth, strength training, but you need to get the itty bitty shitty committee out of your head in order to live your best life as well.
I really love that naming, itty bitty share community. It really kind of interesting and kind of sarcastic way.
I don't
Really,
mean to be disrespectful, Sana.
yeah, I love that. I love that. It's kind of that inner critic or that inner judge, the narcissist self. inside us.
That's right.
Awesome.
But we're responsible for that self.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Patty, if our listeners they would like to connect with you and explore more about your high intensity safe strength training and the wonderful work that you're doing, what would be the best way?
They can visit our website. It's Rock Solid Fitness FL, and that FL is for Florida. So it's rocksolidfitnessfl.com. And you could learn more about me and email me from there, or always call the studio. We have a lot of blog posts about strength training, and we also have a great YouTube channel that has a lot of great videos, some on mindset, some on specific exercises. Rock Solid Fitness FL is our YouTube as well. So I think you would find a wealth of information in both of those locations. And feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. If I can help you in any way, that's what I'm here for.
Awesome. I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes. And Patty, thank you so much for this inspiring and much needed conversation because you have really highlighted how strength isn't just a physical trait or it's a mental and emotional anchor, and especially for women navigating the transitions of the beautiful midlife. So thank you so.
Thank you, Sana. Thank you for having me today. It's been a pleasure.
So, thank you to all the listeners, especially to all the women tuning into this episode of the Mindful Living podcast. We would love to hear your takeaways from this episode. How are you planning to add more mindful strength to your routine? Until then, this is Mindful Living, and I'm your host, Sana, where small shifts create big changes. Thank you.